So I'm standing here with Chris Dudley
Yeah.
of Underoath.
Sup?
He's playing tonight. We're here at the Warfield in San Francisco. And Chris, dude, I haven't seen you in 22 years, dude.
Wild, right?
Totally crazy. And
Yeah, that tour, my first tour ever was with you guys, Tantrum of the Muse, in 2001, right? Yeah.
2001?
2000 or 2000?
2000, I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah, 2000. Yeah. Somewhere in there. It was a long
2000,
freaking time
2000.
ago. Yeah.
But dude, from 2000 and on to now, you're still doing it. We're both still doing it.
Yeah.
But here you are, bro.
It's weird, man. Like, just, I mean, I know we were talking before cameras are rolling and all, but it's just like the fact that like music has been my only career is just like wild. Like, yeah, and then just get to do it at this level all the time is just crazy. Yeah.
So this is your first tour in 2 years, correct?
Yeah, it's been we counted before we left for this tour, and it was 883 days since we had been on tour when we started this, and I think this is like show 6 or something. So yeah.
All right. So the 2 years that you weren't doing music at all, what were you doing?
Hanging out with my wife and kids a lot, which was awesome. Scoring film, that's like my other thing. Like that's a thing that like I want to do for the long run. Like I see myself hopefully doing that until my elderly years, because I'd love to do this until I'm like 70, but just knowing how bands work, like, I mean, we're going 20 years strong, but the idea of going like another 20 or 30 years, I don't know if that'll happen. So yeah, I'm hoping to be.
Metallica's done it.
Yeah, and if we get to Metallica level, then great, I'll do it. But just being realistic, I'm probably I'd love to be scoring film for the long haul. That's what I want to do.
So, in the 2 years that you were totally off doing, with your wife and kids, were you working on anything else musically, or practicing, or not practicing?
Not practicing, just working. I did like 3 film scores during that time, and we also did the Underoath record during that time. That was enough. I've said, like, I've never had a more busy 2 years than the past 2 years. Like, it was like just day and night all the time, because I was like juggling multiple projects at once, but like at the same time trying to take advantage of the time home to hang out with kids and not be the dad that's just like, even though he's home, he's absent. So yeah, it was juggling. Yeah.
And how is it for you to come out on tour away from your kids? And what was the longest period of time that you actually been away from your family?
So the answer to the first question is it was hard, as hard as it's ever been, really. I mean, it's definitely not an ideal thing to be, away from your wife and kids for like weeks at a time. But at the same time, like, this is what I've always done. And particularly my 2 oldest daughters, they, this is what they've known me to do. So it's honestly a lot easier now than it was years ago, where like we've got, my daughters have FaceTime, they've got their phones, we text, we send pictures, and we're talking all the time. So that's a lot easier than when we used to do it before all of that, where it was like, gotta find a payphone, gotta like, I can call home from them. Having a phone card and doing all that stuff. So, so it's not, the only negative about being on tour is just being away from family. So, before this, the longest time I was ever away from them was, I don't know, probably some long tour around 2012 or 13. Like, we were touring a lot then, and too much, really. Like, we were doing like 8. At one point, we were doing like 8 or 9 months a year.
Wow.
And that was just too much, and so we stopped doing that.
Right. Was that a whole group effort thing to stop doing that because of family? Or?
Well, we actually broke up because we...
now we're getting to the good shit.
Yeah, we broke up because the thing is, it's like, we grew up in a similar mindset where it's like, if you are in a band, you are on the road, you are playing as many shows as possible in front of as many people as possible, and that's just it. And like our view of our band is always like, we're giving it 100%, but we viewed it as, if we are not on the road, then we're not giving it our all, you know? So once I had kids and Tim had kids and James had kids, there started to be this like rub where we had this view of our band as always like these road dogs, but like we wanted to be home and see our kids.
Right.
So we were like, the three of us in particular were like, well, if it's a choice between either being at home and seeing our kids grow up or being on the road, we're going to be dads. You know, that's way more important. So we broke up, and it wasn't for a few years after that we actually like started talking, and we're like, man, like in hindsight, it's almost funny. We're like, I wonder if there's a way that we can do this band where it's like as advantageous for like dudes in their 30s as it was when we were teenagers, you know, like maybe there's a mindset switch that we could have, and like,
right.
You know, we now we don't tour 8 months a year. Like we'll tour like 3 months a year, but since we're only touring 3 months a year, it's the shows are better, and we're having more fun because we're never at any point feeling like we're like forced to be out on the road. It's like, oh, we get to do this. Like we're thankful we get to do this, and so yeah, it was a whole mindset switch, and us really just growing up and like being like, hey, you know, we're dads, but we still love doing this, and like
right.
We still want to have fun with it. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So financially, is it good for you guys to do just 3 months a year, and you guys are set for the rest of the year?
Yeah. So the thing is, we were, I guess, maybe scared to find out what would happen back then if we like said no to tours, because again, our mindset growing up when our band started was all like, if we get offered something and it's good, we're going to take it no matter what, no matter how much time we have to spend away from home. So we were kind of forced to see like what would happen if we started saying no to stuff, because we said, you know, we're only going to do 3 months. So we told our management, our agent, all this, like, that we are, cameras going all over the place.
Oh, what's going on?
I got this.
That's some professional stuff right there.
I know what's going on.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Set it down. No.
It does, yes. You don't think that's heavy, but that's
Oh no,
heavy.
I know how it's. Yeah, I couldn't hold it for sure. I would have to do the shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I got this.
Yeah.
That
You're
was
getting a workout. It's fine.
exactly.
Here, just come hold this one, and I'll do that one.
All right.
So hold on, where were we? We were
Oh yeah. So we were at saying no to stuff. So
saying no to stuff.
yeah. So we never said no to any tour ever. Like anything that we got offered, we would just
Right.
take it because we were just afraid to not. And we're like, well, we got to strike while the iron's hot, sort of thing. And really, like when we got back together, and we had kind of had an agreement that we would tour 3, maybe 4 months a year. Then we told our management and our agent, like, hey, like you've got this amount of time, like make it the best that you can. And we found out that once we start saying no to a bunch of stuff, then that you know, as far as demand and all that
Right.
business stuff, like that helps, because it's like, oh, we're not just going to get them for anything. Or like if we're coming to a city, it's not like we're coming back to San Francisco in 6 months. It's like it might be a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, till we come back. So that helps out. So overall, we found that all of it works out a lot better if we're not on the road all the time.
Right.
We have more fun. We get to see our families more. Still, basically make the same amount of money for less time being on the road. So yeah.
So with your last show before COVID hit, I
Mhm.
believe it was like Korn and Alice in Chains.
That was
or
the
something
last
like that.
tour, yeah.
Last tour, right?
Yeah.
So if coming out of that and then the pandemic hits, right? Did you ever think there could have been like your whole future was done?
Oh yeah. No, that's the thing, is like Spencer talks about it on stage almost every night, where it's like there was a point in time we were like, oh, like we just kind of took for granted that live music is
Yeah.
a thing. And I think with a lot of different industries, like people just took it for granted that people were going to be able to get together in mass groups. And there was a point in time where we just thought, well, maybe this isn't what we're going to do anymore, you know?
So what would you do if you didn't have no music to do? What would you do?
I would hopefully be scoring film full time. Like, I was very thankful that pre-COVID and everything, like, I had already lined up a bunch of films that I was going to be doing, and just when COVID hit, a lot of film productions went into post. So they're looking at me being like, well, you can work remotely from home, so you just start doing your thing. And I was super thankful for that. But if that didn't work out, I don't know. I would just do whatever. I'm good with computers. I've got like IT certifications and stuff. And like, I mean, the thing is like, I'm a dad and I'm a husband, and like, that's the number one thing. So like, I wouldn't really care what I was doing. Like, I look at this as like a privilege. I'm like, I get to do this, but if the day comes where like I can't do this anymore, I've got no problem doing whatever it is I got to do to make sure our bills are paid. So yeah.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I know with Underoath, anytime that I've heard any Underoath song, or like, how would I say this, in metal general, like, you guys stand out, and the only reason why I believe they stand out is because of the keyboards. That is like the bass.
Say it louder for the people in the back. No,
I'm going to say it loud because it's the keyboards. Because I know Chris. No, you think about it. You're the backbone and the foundation, like the new song Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Right. It's a lot of program. So what is your what would you call? What is your
process?
Yeah. What's your process? Do they hand you the song? Do you guys flip files back and forth?
So it really depends on the song. Like, there's some songs where it'll be a thing that I was working on by myself, and then I'll bring it to the guys and be like, hey, here's this thing, like, how do we turn it into an Underoath thing? Or it'll be a thing where, some songs might start with like a guitar riff or a drum beat or whatever. But in general, over the years, I think just as I've gotten more, I guess, good at what I do, like, I'm learning more, I'm doing more, I think that I've just been more apt to come to the guys with like electronic ideas and be like, hey, like, let's make this a song, and I think that's why our stuff is kind of, particularly with in the last few years, like, leaned more electronic, but it's different for every song. There's been songs where we basically have a demo that's 80% done and there's no electronics on it at all. And it's like, okay, like, how do we make this an Underoath song? And like, it's like, okay, we'll take out that guitar part and that'll be a keyboard thing, or, vice versa. Like, there's a keyboard thing, but it doesn't work as good. What if we made that a guitar? Like, things like that. It's a lot of just trying to walk a tightrope of making it cool, but not over the top. Because I think it's really easy, particularly with electronics, to like, go over the top with it and make something that's just kind of cheesy.
It's all the hip hop stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
not all. But.
Yeah, it depends on it depends on the genre and the particular song. Like, there's some, like, my whole thing is, I think that within any genre of music, 90% of it is not good. Like, I think metal, hip hop, EDM, pop, whatever, 10% of that genre is fabulous, and then the other 90 is like, it's like whatever, so
what do you think is good? What do you listen to? Do you listen to metal, or where you at?
Oh man, I listen to a bunch of stuff.
That's what I thought.
Lately I've been listening to a lot of Johan Johansson. He's awesome. I listen to, there's this band called Frontierer, that's this metal band from the UK. They're great. Listen to the Power of the Dog score that Johnny Greenwood did. That's awesome. Listen to, man, what else? Lately I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, because I don't listen to as much music when we're on tour, because it's music all the time. Let me think. Ethel Cain, listening to a lot of Ethel Cain.
Okay. You're all over the place.
Yeah, a lot of different stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. So, next 5 years for Underoath, what do you see?
Well, we just put out this record. We'll be touring off this for a while. But, I mean, we've had this record done for over a year, so we're already looking to get back into the studio. So, but we're also, technically, as of this album coming out, we're not on a label. We're the contract that we have with our label's done, so we're kind of free to do whatever we want.
That was Roadrunner, right?
It was Fearless.
Fearless.
Yeah. So we're looking at potentially just being able to like release EPs as we want, like, which we never had the freedom to do. Like, we've always had this idea of, rather than releasing an album every 2 years, like, you know, maybe do, you know, an EP every 3 months, every 6 months, something like that. Because I'm a huge fan of that personally. Like,
I am too. Yeah.
like, albums are amazing. Like, I love the album format, but there's something about EPs that, like, particularly like 9 Inch Nails, they did a thing where they released, I think it was 3 or 4 EPs in a row, and it was like 6 or 8 months apart. And what I loved was, like, I love that band, but there was one of the EPs that I just didn't like at all. Like, I was not a fan of it. But it was not a thing where I'm like, man, what happened to 9 Inch Nails? Like, I don't like them anymore. It was, I don't like this EP, but I'm looking forward to whatever they're doing next, because I knew I wasn't going to have to wait 2.5 years to get another record.
Right.
So I love the idea of being able to be a little more experimental and a little more like, yo, let's try something weird. And if people dig it, cool. If not, we're going to dig it, and then we're going to have another one in 6 or 8 months. So, yeah, I like that idea. And who knows if that's going to end up happening. I mean, we might just end up going right into another record, but who knows, yeah.
So growing up as a kid, most kids get into drums, guitar, bass, or singing. How the hell did you ever get into keyboards?
I was a guitar player, and then I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school, and I was in a guitar class with this kid that had like really, he always wore really cool band shirts, and always was listening to really cool music that I didn't know about. And he was like, yeah, you know, I'm starting this band called Underoath, and you know, it's going to be really cool. And then about a year and a half later, he was like, hey, like, we want to have keyboards, but we don't have a keyboard player. Do you want to come and play keyboards? And
do I know this kid?
That was Dallas. Yeah, and it was Underoath's first singer back in high school, and
he did not want to mention Dallas's name.
Oh yeah, no, I was
kidding.
I was gonna get there, but so yeah, it was really out of it was just being in high school and then being like, hey, well, Chris knows how to play guitar, kinda. Like, he could probably play keyboard. Let's just let him do it. But then the thing is back then we were all in high school, and it wasn't like a commitment that I was making. It was more so just like my friends are in a band. Yeah, I'll do that. That's fun. Not thinking that like 23 or 4 years later I'd still be doing it. Like, I didn't think I was signing up for a lifelong career. I thought it was just hey, come and play some heavy music with friends. But I still get to play heavy music with friends. So yeah, it's rad.
Which is killer, dude.
It's wild.
So out of like, getting into music, so were you fully like coming into the band? Like when Underoath, we're going to cut that. I got a better question.
Okay.
Coming into Underoath, right? The whole band starting, you had Dallas, you had yourself, was Aaron in the band as well?
Yep.
And then you had Corey?
Yep.
Okay, came in band. And then as we both lost a good friend in the past year, Corey Steger, how did that affect you?
It's interesting because like me and Corey, we've always kept in touch, and we were talking, before the camera started rolling, and was talking about how, when you are touring, particularly in the capacity that we used to tour, where it's like you're in a van, you're making no money, you're paying to play shows, you don't have enough money for everybody to have all the food they want to eat, like that sort of stuff. It forms this bond that is like kind of sort of indescribable, where like me and you before 20 minutes ago hadn't seen each other in over 20 years, but it's just like, hey, what's up? Like, good to see you. Like, and so me and Corey always kept in touch, but sometimes there would be months where we wouldn't talk to each other, but it was fine,
Yeah.
But one thing that me and Corey always did, which I am super thankful for, is whenever we would talk, we would always tell each other exactly how we felt about each other. Like,
I agree.
Yes, it was a very on the surface, I love you very much.
Yep.
I'm very thankful for you as a friend. I'm thankful for, like, I would tell Corey all the time, like, even though, I was only in the band with Corey for 3 years that we were in a band together, and I'm in my, I think, 22nd year of being in this band, so I haven't been in a band with him in forever,
right.
But like I would always tell him, like, thank you for allowing me to come into your band, because us being in high school and playing music together led to me, like almost every friend I have now is from this.
Right.
My wife, my kids, every dollar I've made since I was a teenager, it all came from this nucleus of like just playing music with friends, you know? So we would always have these very open conversations, and when I got word that he passed, I was very sad. But at the same time, like there was almost like a joy where I was like, he knew exactly how I felt about him.
I agree.
And I know exactly what he felt about me. Yeah. And I had never felt like, when people say like, hey, tell people how much they mean to you, like that sort of stuff. I knew from that moment that I heard that he passed, I was like, I need to do that with everybody. Because if he were to have died and we didn't have that sort of relationship, I would still be here just like, I wish I would have said A, B, C, D.
I agree.
Whereas, like, I know there's nothing else that I could have said to him. Like, and honestly, the majority of the sadness from the whole situation just comes from his wife and kids, you know? And like,
I agree.
Yeah.
And you know what, dude? I feel like I'm honored, seriously, to be talking to you again.
Dude, same.
Because in the beginning, right, where Underoath started, until now, this kind of helped, and Corey passing, this kind of brings closure for me, because I was so close to Corey, you know what I mean? It gives me a little more comfort, and, you know what I mean, like, seeing the guys again, you know, because when we first met, and I'm like ready to bust some tears.
Yes.
when we first met, and then when we left that tour, like, well, I've always thought about you guys.
Yeah.
And because that was really our first tour to go out and do what we do now.
Yeah.
You know, and if it wasn't for that, or, you know, meeting you guys and this and that, or meeting Corey, because Corey was my driver always. Jim, you got to do this, you got to do that. But, but he was so full of love, and Yeah. But it's an honor to be talking to you guys
same,
again.
Man. It's wild. Just a couple decades later, dudes playing some rock music. Why the heck
now
not?
We're all dads, and we got kids, and we're old, and we're ready, you know.
Necks are hurting, but hey, rock and roll.
Exactly. Yeah, and let me ask you that question, right? So you're on stage every night, and your neck's got to be killing.
It's garbage.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's trashed. Yeah, but rock and roll, you know. Why the heck not?
I agree.
That's not my doctor doesn't agree, but hey, you know.
I agree. So when you go home, right?
Yeah.
Is your kid? Now, how old's your oldest? 13.
She's
right?
about to be 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she knows her dad's a rock star, right?
So, ish. Every now and then something will happen to where she's like, because it's funny because all of our kids, like, the band is just like the other dads at the barbecues. It's like, oh yeah, my dad's in a band with Mr. Tim and Mr. James and Mr. Grant, and like, so but every now and then it's like my daughter just found out that her dance teacher like loves our band, and she's like, oh yeah, there's like other people that like dad and his friend's band, or like going into the store and seeing our record there, things like that. But for the most part, they don't care. They're just like, oh, it's dad and his friends.
Yeah, that's how my kids are too.
Yeah.
Dad. Clarice is coming over. All right, whatever. You know? But they don't know the extent of these guys, you know, which is cool. But yeah,
it's good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else would you like to talk about? Anything else you want to get out there?
I don't think so. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just jamming, dads, hanging, cool.
You ready for tonight? Slamming down some beers?
I will be ready for tonight in about...
what time you guys going on?
We go on at 9:30. Yeah, I'll be ready in about 2 hours. Yeah, I gotta stretch up, gotta loosen up a little bit, let the chicken and rice settle a little bit so it doesn't make an encore appearance on stage. So
pre-show, you're stretching, you're doing... what do you do pre-show?
Stretch a lot. Try to get the heart rate up a little bit. Lately... Like, normally I'll have like a shot of whiskey before we go on, just because just good, just loose, just being like feeling good. But then like sometimes I'll be like a little tired before we go on stage, and you know what pre-workout is?
Yeah.
So like sometimes I'll have pre-workout, sometimes I'll have like a little thing of whiskey. But then on this tour, I'm like, well, I want to have the energy, but I also want to be loose, so I'll just do both. And I'm just on stage like, let's go. Like, yeah, I don't know if that's good, but Yeah, mostly just stretching and acting like an idiot for a minute just to get in a groove. So yeah.
Before or while you're on stage?
Before, yeah, no, I always act like an idiot. But yeah, I like our band a lot, so I have fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Yeah.
dude. And every night, any show that I saw you, you're always constantly,
Oh,
what
it's
I mean?
fun, man.
Your
I
head
mean-
rocking back and forth, which is killer.
Yeah.
But I'm going. It's a keyboard.
Yeah.
How does he do that? How does he make it? Like when you're on guitar, you can do like some fancy stuff, right?
Yeah, but none of my stuff moves, so I just move around all of my things. It would probably be really weird for me if I had an instrument that moved with me because I've literally never had it before.
Or have
so.
a keyboard like this.
I will never do that.
I hope not.
No, never, ever, 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 ever will I have a guitar. Cut to 5 years from now, I'm like, oh, I found this new guitar,
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Don't ever do it. If I ever see you do that,
Yeah, you can call me out publicly.
Yeah,
It's
I will
fine.
call
Yeah.
you out in public. I will call you out in public, for sure. But Chris, dude, it was an honor
Dude,
seeing
same,
you again,
man, same.
and it's so good to freaking see you, man.
No,
seriously.
Freaking A.
Yeah.
Freaking A.
And can't wait to see you guys tonight.
I hope you dig the show. Now I'm going to be all nervous. I'm going to try to not blow it.
Oh,
'cause-
I'm gonna be out there.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be in the pit, so I'm gonna be like, dude,
Yeah, well, hope you guys have a good time.
why would you be nervous? You wouldn't be nervous.
Get
outta here.
No, it's weird. Like there could be like however many people, but like if there's like if it's like mom's here, or like
Yeah.
oh, my friend from high school's here. Like
Well,
it's
your dad's gonna be here tonight.
my dad's here, and technically my friend from high school's here. So
Yeah,
yeah.
That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Yeah, thanks for doing this. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chris, for coming out. This is Black Rat Productions.
Boom,
Freaking killer, dude.
pro, dude. Freaking A. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.